Libra, let's get straight to the heart of today's message. A financial shift is on the horizon, and with it comes an unexpected rain of blessings. This is not a coincidence. July 7th is more than a date. It's a cosmic checkpoint, a moment where your choices ripple across timelines. What you choose now could open the door to everything you've been quietly hoping for. If you've been feeling that strange tug in your spirit lately, like something is coming, but you can't quite name it, then welcome. You've arrived exactly where you're meant to be. This video isn't just a horoscope. It's a mirror for your soul. And the timing? Divine. You're here because your spirit already knew it needed this message. Let me ask you something real. Have you been standing at a crossroads lately, uncertain about what decision to make? A financial opportunity you're unsure you can trust? A relationship that feels out of sync? Or perhaps something deep within you is calling for realignment, something you can't quite put into words yet, but it's there. That quiet pull toward truth. Towards something more balanced, more meaningful. This is not about rushing. It's about remembering that clarity is a process and you're already in it. You don't need to force a breakthrough, you're already unraveling something profound. And today, I'm here not just as a guide, but as a fellow traveler to help you decode the signs, align with your higher path, and reconnect with your center. In this reading, we'll dive into powerful tarot messages that are showing up for Libra on this very unique day. We'll also explore the astrology of July 7th, what your soul number is whispering, how the colors surrounding you affect your vibrational field, and most importantly, how you can take back the pen and rewrite what happens next. But before we move forward, I want to take a moment to say this from the bottom of my heart: thank you. Every comment you leave, every like, every share, every time you subscribe to this space, you're not just supporting this channel. You're helping build a sacred community of clarity seekers and soul growers. Zodiac Whisper Tarot is not just a channel, it's a lighthouse. And you're part of that light. So if your heart's been stirred already, if something in you says, "This message is for me," then let's make it real. Comment below and say, "I choose alignment," if you feel today is about stepping into the life that's waiting for you. Let's begin this journey together, grounded in intention and guided by spirit. Now stay with me, because what the universe is about to reveal will shift how you see everything. Trust me, Libra, you don't want to miss what's coming next. There are moments in life when everything around us may appear calm, yet something beneath the surface is stirring in invisible tension between what we feel and what we know. For Libra, that tension often comes in the form of decision-making. You crave harmony, and yet this very desire can sometimes leave you frozen at the crossroads, trying to avoid tipping the scales. But on July 7th, with the moon harmonizing with Saturn in Gemini, the universe offers you a unique chance to make a decision that feels both emotionally honest and intellectually sound. It's as if the cosmos is handing you a rare gift, the ability to see clearly with both your heart and your mind. Astrologically, this alignment encourages a merging of two core aspects of your nature: the beauty of your emotional intelligence and the precision of your rational thought. Saturn grounds you, Gemini sharpens your mental clarity, and the moon amplifies your inner voice. This is not a time to fear choosing wrong. It's a time to understand that the only mistake would be to remain immobile out of fear. Decisions carry momentum, and movement, no matter how uncertain, is often better than stagnation. When you move with awareness, you allow space for wisdom to follow. The appearance of the Lover's card in today's spread is more than just about romantic relationships. It speaks to the crossroads in your soul, the internal pull between two distinct paths, values, or desires. Whether it's a job opportunity, a new relationship, or even a change in lifestyle, this card reminds you that love is not only what you give others, it's also about how honestly you choose what aligns with your higher self. To choose what lights you up is to choose love. Then there is Justice, your ruling card, showing up like a mirror held directly to your essence. This is the universe's way of saying, it's time to return to yourself. Justice is not about being right. It's about being real. When this card appears, it's a call to align with truth, your truth. That means honoring what feels just and balanced, not necessarily what pleases everyone. Because let's be honest, Libra, peace without honesty isn't really peace. This is your moment to recalibrate, make choices from a place of inner truth, not external pressure. And finally, Six of Pentacles reminds us of the sacred exchange of energy. Life always meets you where you are, and you're now entering a phase where what you've given time, care, love, effort begins to cycle back to you in kind. But to fully receive that, you must first be open to choosing. Giving and receiving require movement. You must take a step, offer a word, speak your truth, sign the paper, open the door. The balance you long for doesn't come from standing still, it comes from participation. I often think of the way we're reminded, gently but powerfully, that we don't need to have everything figured out to move forward. We simply need to trust that when we choose with integrity, we are choosing with divine support. Even in faith-based teachings, the wisdom is simple but deep. You are not expected to know the entire plan, you are only asked to walk forward with sincerity. That kind of faith builds not only spiritual courage but personal power. So if you've been waiting for a sign, Libra, this is it. You already know the choice you're being called to make. The only question now is, will you give yourself permission to take the step? Let this be the moment where you stop seeking balance from the outside world, and instead, create it from within. Because the truth is, you've always had the power to choose, you just needed to believe you were worthy of your own clarity. Sometimes the most profound clarity doesn't arrive in a flash of brilliance, but in a quiet realization, a soft inner whisper that says, "This matters to me." Libra, you've always been someone who sees both sides, who weighs each possibility with grace. But what happens when both options feel equally uncertain? That's where you are now. Torn not by indecision, but by a deep desire to honor everyone, sometimes at the cost of yourself. But today isn't about pleasing others. It's about asking, with full presence, what do I truly want? The appearance of the High Priestess in your reading is a sacred invitation. Not to figure everything out, but to trust what you already know deep down. She is the guardian of intuitive truth, the voice inside you that doesn't shout but knows. And that voice is rising now. You may feel it in dreams, in the gut feeling you keep brushing off, or in the discomfort of saying yes when you really want to say no. The High Priestess doesn't push, she reveals. And what she's revealing now is that your own stillness holds more wisdom than all the noise you've been trying to balance. But intuition without movement becomes a loop. That's why the Knight of Swords follows her, fast, direct, and ready to act. It's a reminder that once you see your truth, it's time to move with it. Even if it's messy. Even if you don't feel ready. There is power in clarity, Libra, but even more in committed momentum. The universe meets your intention halfway, but only once you take the first step. Just like any law of nature, the law of attraction responds to what you claim with certainty. Doubt creates pause. Decision creates motion. And yet, Two of Swords sits in the center not as an obstacle, but as a mirror. You may still feel blocked. Caught between two choices. One may feel safer, more familiar. The other, riskier but more aligned. The truth? The block is not in the options. It's in the fear of making the wrong one. But what if there's no such thing? What if the act of choosing itself is the portal to power? What if every step you take from the place of self-respect, even if it leads to mistakes, ultimately leads you back to your center? There's a gentle lesson I've held close that clarity isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of courage. You don't need to have the whole staircase built. You just need to believe that the first step matters. Even in scripture, we're reminded that faith is movement without full vision. You weren't meant to see it all. Just to start with integrity. So here's something you can do today. Write down 2 things that are making you hesitate right now. It could be a conversation you've been avoiding, a decision you keep postponing, or a dream you've been too afraid to say out loud. Then, beneath each, write 1 small action you can take toward what you really want, even if it's just a sentence you'll finally say to yourself. If you often find yourself shaping your truth to protect the peace around you, this is the moment to reclaim your voice. Not with resistance, but with self-commitment. You're allowed to hold your needs as sacred. You're allowed to walk away from what no longer honors you. You're allowed to start again with honesty. So, Libra, let me ask you gently, have you ever sacrificed your own dream just to keep things comfortable for everyone else? If the answer is yes, today might just be the day you begin choosing you. There are certain changes that don't arrive with thunder or warning, they come softly, beneath the surface, like a quiet rearranging of truth. Libra, this is one of those times. While everything may appear calm on the outside, something within you knows that a shift is inevitable. The Tower card, often misunderstood, appears here not as punishment, but as permission. It represents what must fall in order for you to build something more honest, more stable, more reflective of who you are becoming. And in your case, this collapse may not look dramatic. It might be as simple and as profound as letting go of something you've outgrown, a story, a pattern, a relationship that no longer reflects your values. You've felt it for a while now, haven't you? That subtle tension, that quiet discomfort, like wearing a beautiful garment that no longer fits. Sometimes we stay in these spaces too long, not because we are weak, but because we are loyal. We honor what once felt right. But growth requires a shedding. And what feels like chaos now may, in truth, be the very space you've been asking for, to breathe, to realign, to begin again. That's why the Page of Cups follows. This card doesn't deny the disruption, but it speaks to what can emerge from it: new emotional understanding, gentle beginnings, creative healing. When you release what is no longer working, you make room for something purer to arrive. Not perfect. Not loud. But tender. And isn't that what you truly crave, Libra? A life that feels soft enough to hold your heart, yet strong enough to protect your peace? Temperance, the final card in this trio, reminds you that this transformation is not about speed, it's about harmony. Healing doesn't come all at once. It comes in layers, in waves, in moments of stillness followed by moments of courage. This card invites you to recenter, to bring your extremes into balance, to ask not only, what do I need to let go of, but also, what do I want to feel instead? You are not broken, Libra. You are evolving. And as with anything sacred, that evolution requires patience. You cannot fill your cup with something new until you're willing to pour out what has become stagnant. Like the metaphor of a glass too full to receive fresh water sometimes, the most generous act you can do for yourself is to gently empty it. On a practical level, this is a good time to care for your nervous system. Drink water, cut back on overstimulating substances like caffeine, and create a small pocket of silence in your day where you can simply breathe. In your career, if you've felt directionless, give yourself permission to pause and realign. Spend an hour journaling about what your values are and what kind of life would truly honor them. Financially, you may receive an opportunity that seems small at first, but opens unexpected doors. Stay receptive, and don't be afraid to ask for support or collaboration. And in matters of the heart, honor the endings that whisper more than they shout. Some doors close quietly because your soul is ready for something truer. If you believe in the gentle power of intention, try this. Write down the sentence, I give myself permission to change for the sake of my happiness. Then, light a pink candle and let the words burn into the ether as an offering. Not to the universe, but to yourself, a promise that you will not stay where joy has already left. Change may look like falling apart, but in truth, it's a falling into place. And somewhere on the other side of this quiet upheaval, a more peaceful version of you is waiting. Energy has its own language, Libra, and it speaks to you in subtleties, in colors that pull you closer without reason, in numbers that repeat like whispers, in moments that feel more like alignment than coincidence. As we move through this chapter of quiet transformation, your spirit becomes especially receptive to the symbols around you. These aren't random. They're guides. And this week, they're offering a map to help you navigate toward balance, clarity, and quiet joy. Let's begin with color, because color, whether we realize it or not, influences how we feel, how we speak, and even how we decide. Rose quartz pink surrounds you with softness, inviting you to release old tension without needing to relive it. It gently calls your nervous system into calm, into ease. There's a reason this shade is often associated with heart healing. It reminds you that it's safe to soften. Wearing this color or simply meditating with its presence can help you reconnect with the part of yourself that longs to love again, but wisely. Aqua, meanwhile, carries the energy of balance and clarity, which, for Libra, is more than helpful, it's essential. Aqua doesn't demand, it soothes. It clears mental fog and emotional overwhelm so you can actually hear your own thoughts again. If you've been struggling to make a decision or feel torn between choices, integrating this hue into your space, your wardrobe, or even your breathwork visualization can support you in finding your center again. In numerology, this week's sacred numbers are not just mathematical, they're symbolic frequencies. The number 7 calls you inward. It nudges you toward reflection, reminding you that not all movement is physical. Sometimes the greatest momentum comes when you finally sit still long enough to hear what's been quietly asking for your attention. The number 6 represents love, not just in the romantic sense, but love that restores. Think of it as the emotional spine of the week, encouraging you to lead every thought, every decision, with compassion. When you see the number 11, especially as 1111, don't rush past it. It's more than a digital timestamp, it's a cosmic doorway. This number often shows up when you're standing at the edge of something meaningful, a new insight, a relationship upgrade, or a mindset shift that's long overdue. But here's the catch: you have to be still to receive it. The right moment, the right message, the right step will not shout. It will arrive like a breeze, and if you're too busy bracing for a storm, you might miss it. The number 22 brings your dreams down to earth. It's a builder's number, rooted, structured, asking, what are you ready to commit to now? This is the frequency that says, no more waiting on the perfect time. Let's begin with what you have, where you are, right now. And 29? It speaks to the alchemy of emotion and wisdom. It says, everything you felt wasn't wasted, it was being refined into discernment. Let it guide you now. If someone reappears in your life this week, perhaps unexpectedly, perhaps humbly, it's not always about reconciliation. Sometimes, the return is the closure. Sometimes, it's the reminder that you've outgrown something beautifully. And if a repeated number, like 707 or 222, keeps catching your eye, don't ignore it. Let it be your cue to pause and breathe. To support this energetic unfolding, consider wearing rose pink or aqua on July 7th. Let it be your silent shield, your quiet statement of intention. Then take 7 minutes, just 7, to sit in stillness. Place one hand on your heart, the other on your solar plexus, and speak gently to yourself, I am returning to who I've always been. Because Libra, peace was never somewhere far away, it's always been waiting within you, asking only for your attention. And so, dear Libra, if you've made it to this moment, I want to honor you not just for watching this video, but for showing up for your own clarity. This journey we've walked through together wasn't just about predictions or guidance from the stars, it was about remembering your own power to choose, to realign, to heal in ways only your heart can understand. From the initial uncertainty you may have carried, to tuning into that quiet voice of inner wisdom, to taking the smallest yet bravest steps forward, everything we explored today was meant to bring you back to the kind of balance that doesn't require standing still, but encourages movement that's true to who you are. Balance, after all, was never about freezing yourself in place to keep everyone else at ease. Real balance is choosing what honors your soul even when others don't understand. It's letting go of the version of yourself that only knew how to smile through discomfort and finally making space for the version that knows how to say yes and no with peace. So I want to ask you something gently, but sincerely. If today you could choose only one thing with absolute clarity, one truth to guide you through the next door, what would it be? What would you no longer compromise on? And are you willing, right here and now, to give that truth permission to lead the way? Maybe it's a dream you've been quiet about for too long. Maybe it's a decision that's felt too heavy to carry alone. Or maybe it's just the realization that you've grown beyond the version of life you once accepted. Whatever it is, this is your moment to declare it, not in defiance, but in devotion to the future you want to live. And if the messages today have touched something inside you, if you felt that shift, even slightly, I encourage you to ground it by sharing in the comments below. Tell me, what decision is calling to you now? What part of you feels ready to return home to itself? And if it feels right, write these words below as your affirmation for today. I choose myself gently, but firmly. Because self-commitment doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Sometimes the most transformational act begins in silence with a whisper, a pause, a choice. Let me also take a moment to say thank you truly. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, you're not just supporting a channel. You're supporting a collective energy, a sacred space where messages like these can reach the people who need them most. Your presence here matters more than you know. And I'm beyond grateful for the way you show up. If you feel this video helped light something within you, please take a moment to like it, share it, or pass it on to someone who may be standing at their own crossroads. That small act might be the very sign someone else has been praying for. Libra, the balance you seek isn't a fixed point, it's a living dance between truth and tenderness. And you, just as you are today, have everything it takes to move with that rhythm. Until we meet again in the stars, keep listening, keep choosing, and above all, keep returning to your own center.